Yo, what's going on YouTube? Kronos here, and welcome back to another PSO2 video. So, wait, I said Kronos. I usually call myself Chrono. Alright, really quick chat. Your headcanon, Chrono or Kronos? Leave it in the comments. Anyway, welcome back to the video. Welcome back to the channel itself. Today's video we're going to be talking about the August, or I guess the first part of the August updates. I guess they're calling it August Update 1. But before we jump into that, guys, really quick, my name is Chrono. I do content over here on YouTube daily. Would much appreciate a subscribe as we work towards our 10K mark by the end of the year. But let's go ahead and jump into this. But really quick before we get started on this, actually, I had just finished putting together my entire deep dive on the actual NGS headline and kind of all the stuff that we saw in the headline and kind of my reactions to it after I'd let the information marinate a little bit, as I usually do. And then right in the middle of my raid in Final Fantasy XIV, they dropped the article for the update for the first part. Now, I'm gonna, instead of releasing that video, even though it's like all put together and just needs to be edited and put together other portions of it, instead of doing that, I felt like it's gonna be content repeat, or it's gonna be information repeat. Might as well just go ahead and go into these articles. And what I'll do, it looks like they have this article labeled as the August update information. However, they only have August update 1 on this actual article. When they update it to the second part, I'll go over a second video going over the part 2. So we're just gonna be going over part 1 today. So to start things off, they of course start with the most important information. Braver's launching new class. Will be going out on the 4th of next month. Braver can use Braver can use 2 weapon types, perfect for both close and long range combat. And the reason I decided to go with just covering this article is because a lot of the things that we just kind of guessed, or that we were talking about in the previous video that I had put together, they just flat out confirm for me instead, in literally exact information as to what everything is. So it talks about Katana first and foremost. Katana is an agile weapon that is ideal for rapid attacks. Katana photon arc combos can be used to dish out a variety of attacks when the same PA is performed repeatedly. The bow is a ranged weapon that deals steady damage from afar. The photon arcs change greatly depending upon whether or not you charge the attack, mixing up your charge attacks to get the upper hand in battle. Or it says mix up your charge attacks to get the upper hand in battle. And then it tells us about Braver class skills. So we've got a few skills here. Brave Combat, active skill for braver weapons only. Reduces PP consumption and increases attack PP recovery for a fixed amount of time. Using the same skill again while already active will launch a powerful attack. So this was something that I had guessed beforehand because they really weren't specific about it during the actual headline. But they mentioned that you reduce PP consumption, and they said you increase PP returned, which I guessed they'd meant attack PP recovery, not active PP recovery would happen during photon arts. We kind of busted, but you know, it'd be nice. So basically it increases your attack PP recovery. That's PP recovery whenever you're attacking with normal attacks, not with photon arts. And then using the same skill again while already active will launch a powerful attack. It looks like there's no sort of count or anything along those lines associated with it, similar to base PSO2 is Katana combat. Honestly, Brave Combat is very similar in that sort of sense, kind of how it's supposed to be used, but it does not have that other extra layer of complexity on it, which I'm kind of sad that it doesn't. I feel like it would have been a cool thing, but either way, it looks like it's not here. Rest Effect Amplifier increases the HP recovery amount when you use a rest assign. It's pretty normal for Braver. Braver originally had like the faster mates back in base PSO2, so I guess this is like the same version of that skill itself. It just means that you use less rest assigns, you just heal yourself for more when you pop one. Katana Guard Counter Advanced adds a shockwave to the counter when performing a perfect guard with the weapon attack or weapon action. So this is only when performing a perfect guard, meaning that you've got a standard guard that you can utilize. When you perfect guard, you use a shockwave. It looks like it requires a skill, and based on the screenshots, I can't really tell if it's main class only. I can see Katana Guard. Oh yeah, no, it is actually not main class only. It looks like it's for any class, so I'm pretty sure the Brave Combat will main class only. Yeah, I can see that in the screenshots. The Brave Combat is main class only, but the Guard Counter is not, so you can use that as a subclass, which would be pretty cool. May be able to see some interesting combinations put together. And then we also have Bow Illusion Plus. Bow only, of course, and it's using a weapon action while pressing the directional pad at just the right time after releasing a photon art will make you slide while attacking. I guess, oh, that's interesting. Like you can do an extra attack by pressing, and it's only after a photon art. Okay, it's a bit strange. I feel like we'll have to get our hands on that one, but it just sounds like you get a follow-up attack while pressing the weapon action and a directional pad button at the same time right after you release a photon art. So the follow-up attack, kind of a bit more rapid fire, which is kind of dope. All right, so after that, they go into Braver photon arts, starting out with the Katana photon arts. We have Silver Leaf Storm. Releases a / after a swift sword draw, multiple uses, releases alternate attack. So just looks like a regular, just a combo attack, nothing too crazy there. Iris Gale. Katana Photon Art. I mean, these all start with Katana Photon Art, so I'm just going to skip that. But mows down nearby enemies after a swift sword draw, multiple uses, releases alternate attacks. Okay, well, it's going to end with multiple uses, releases alternate attacks every time. So we're just going to read the middle part, I guess. But mows down nearby enemies after a swift sword draw. And then Lotus Lightning. I'm thinking of a PA, one of Braver's PAs. I can't think of it. Maybe it'll be added in editing. I don't know. Anyway, releases a manifold it releases manifold shockwaves in a straight line after charging your sword. So, and this is, of course, you can use multiple times in a row. It's basically Bujin's attack, but you stay in place instead of go through the target. So it's kind of cool. Moving on, we have the bow PAs. So starting things off, we have Flex Arrow, fires homing arrows. It can be charged up 2 power levels to release different attacks. Frenzied Firework, you have scatters arrows all around you. Scatters arrows all around when you hit an enemy. Charge to change to an alternate attack. Okay, so it looks like it has a charge attack as well. Interesting. And then Dimensional Ray. A bow from an alternate dimension rains arrows on the enemies charging will cause the bow to teleport and release homing attacks when you land hits with other photon arts. Oh wait, hold on a second. So if you charge this ability and then you use a different photon art, it causes, oh wait, there's an ability for this. You guys in the comments are going to tell me what it is, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like you would shoot and you would have all these arrows stocked up, and then when you used other photon arts, it would launch those arrows at the same time. And I believe there was an S-grade augment back in base PS2 that allowed that to happen automatically, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so both photon arts are looking pretty dope. Honestly, at first I was like, I don't really think they're that interesting, but like thinking or hearing about how its moves actually work and how its photon arts change based on charges, it sounds interesting. Moving on, we have the introduction of the Braver instructor, Deirdre. I mean, it's pretty par for the course. She's an 18-year-old Dooman. I'm glad they decided to leave that, or to put that specific piece of information in there. People get kind of weird about ages, but anyway. Braver basic training is a task in which ARC's instructor Deirdre teaches the basic fighting method of the Braver class in a practical manner. Try this task if you want to give the Braver class a try. It's just the regular quest that we usually get for each of the classes. They're just adding in an instructor. Likely we'll probably have the same instructor be the instructor for Bouncer as well. I don't foresee them changing it, and probably also Summoner, but maybe they might move it or add a new instructor. We'll have to see. And then for some reason at the bottom of this, they tell you new weapon categories. Oh no, this is new weapon categories for existing weapons that are out. That's why. So new katanas and bow weapon categories have been added. The katana has been added to the 4-star rarity Forces weapon series, and the bow has been added to the Vialto series. So they're adding a 4-star Forces katana and a 4-star Vialto bow. Weapons of 3-star rarity or less have also been added to other weapon series, such as the Trollday series and the Theseus series. Theseus, I'm probably mispronouncing that horribly, but those series weapons, be sure to get them. Cool, good stuff there. And that's it for Braver. Again, Braver will be launching on the 4th, so next month. That's actually next month, actually even more so next week. Technically both correct statements, but super cool to see that it's gonna be right there, because people need something to do right now. Leveling Braver is not a bad idea, though that's not gonna last very long. Moving on past Braver, we have a new side story that has been announced. Now, I'll be honest, it's a bit of a criticism. I kind of wish they didn't tell you as much about the side story itself. They kind of gave a bit more information than I felt like should have been necessary. But essentially, just letting you know that it's going to be called a melancholy monument. Essentially being a monument to the people who passed away during the intro of NGS, essentially, that dealt with the whole, during the prologue, basically, where you dealt with that giant falls. And of course, Garoa and the rest of the people, a part of the town of West Ileo, were lost. So super sad, but apparently that's going to be the side story that we're going to be going through, that we have access to, and that is going to be available on the 4th. Players who have completed all of the main quests in Chapter 1 will get a word from Aina that she would like to meet at the Watchtower. We'll start the side story. You'll earn some items for completing a melancholy monument, which looks just be a bit of fashion. So not too bad, something kind of cool. But again, I wish they didn't tell you nearly as much about the information ahead of time. Just a side story would have been perfectly fine for me. I feel like that's just a pet peeve of mine personally. A lot of times, not really developers, but in general, stories are told a little too much in previews. And to follow that up, we have a new scratch. Now, I know a lot of people are like, they mentioned that we'll get 2 to 3 scratches a month, and we've got a ton more than 2 to 3 scratches. the people that work on, I'm sure that work on fashion probably don't work on game systems more than likely. So the fact that there have been game systems that had been delayed, fashion more than likely just hasn't even been touched as far as its timer is gone. So it's just going to keep pushing forward because of course this is what makes the company money. So that's what they're going to want to make sure is continuously moving forward itself. So understandable, even though I'm not a fan of it. But we've got fashion. Sunshine Marine Stars. This is going to be a consistent thing. It seems like they're really heavy on the whole marine and aquatic theme recently. Some pretty cool cast parts. Not a huge fan of the outfits. They do, however, have the Rayfoot hair, which looks really dope. Actually, a good friend of ours, Ori, would probably really love that hair. I think maybe she might hate it. Who knows? But it's almost like they designed a hairstyle for her. Kind of cool. Some decent ideas for a couple of decent outfits kind of pop out to me, and they've got some cool emotes, so be sure to check those out. Now the SG scratch, or the scratch I care about more, is the SG scratch will be coming out on that same day that Braver comes out, so on the 4th next month / next week. We have the Astute Braver, excuse me, I was gonna say the Braver collection. But we have a new SG scratch. I mentioned in a previous video that our old one's going away, we're gonna need a new one. Here's the new one itself. Got some pretty cool outfits. I mentioned that, if any outfit was going to get me out of my base outfit from base PSO2, it'll probably be this one, and here it is. So more than likely, I'll be going for it. We'll have to see how that works out. As far as SG scratches go, we know SG scratch isn't always on your side, but it's probably the first thing I'll probably spend a color change pass on. The more important thing, unfortunately, is not shown here is, well, actually, I think you can see it. Yeah, it shows the stances. The idle stances in this are absolutely amazing. Arms crossed is probably my favorite one, more than likely the one I'll probably use. However, there is always that crazy hand in front of your face stance. Basically looks like something they pulled directly out of base PSO2 from Kyokia, or Kyoki for short, as some like to call him, but is a phantom, an NPC from base PSO2 that is on some levels what some would consider a little cringe. It's a lot of nice fun for me personally, but super cool stuff, really cool poses, though it is all SG. They've got cool things in here like pierced tongue, so on and so forth. So a lot of things I actually do want from this SG scratch that isn't usually a thing, because I haven't cared for anything from the previous SG scratch personally. And then we have the AC Scratch Oracle Renewal Collection 2. Now this is where they've been jamming extra AC scratches in. Unfortunately, these were AC scratches that JP already has, or they got while they were waiting to get NGS. While over on the global side, of course, we were in a different schedule as far as content is concerned, so they were jamming everything out all at once. We did not have the extra time that JP had set aside, so we're getting these scratches now. It is a little bit unfortunate that we're still a little behind. Hopefully we'll catch up soon as far as the scratches are concerned, though we are keeping up with content, and that is what is most important. But we've got these scratches coming in here, nothing too crazy. Ultra long scarf looks pretty dope. Of course, the cursed layered or end cursed layered hairstyle, as well as the outfits and some other popular outfit choices in itself. Nothing too crazy other than that. Some emotes, so on and so forth. Now, this last section is pretty interesting, though it does have a bit of a caveat. So scheduled for the 21st. This says the 21st of July, but I think they mean of August. But either way, scheduled for the 21st. They're adding a feature for mag display off and on, essentially allowing you to turn off your mag for things like screenshot or during gameplay. However, there is a bit of a caveat with that. Due to all of the issues that they experienced during launch, unfortunately, the team that would have been working on the feature to bringing over our mag devices was working on bugs and things of that sort. So they did delay. It looks like they're delaying that feature that they're going to be bringing over our mag evolution devices. And if you're unaware what that is, basically, we were able to change the look of our mags back in base PSO2. That feature is supposed to be coming over to NGS as well. However, they were delaying that until October as of right now. On that day, they're also adding a new augment, apparently, and it's weird that this one's being pushed to the 21st. It doesn't come out on the 4th. Now, I'm not sure, again, this could be one of those situations where this is like retroactively being added or so on and so forth, or it's just a bit weird, but the Melra Dualable, I'm not sure why they went with that name specifically. I'm sure there's reason for it. I just don't get it because I can't read it. But long story short, it's an augment that's being added that gives increased melee and range power. So it's perfect for the new Braver class and multi-weapons. If you're using a multi-weapon, it essentially uses two different types of weapons. This is great for that situation. It's also great for units if you say are playing a Braver. Say you're playing a Braver basically. You can set this for your units themselves. That way you are benefiting yourself for melee and for ranged. while augmenting your weapons, as fourth. So of course your katana would be melee, and of course your bow would be ranged. Unless you made a multi-weapon, then you want to have this double augment on it overall. The downside is they do show this being the one in the screenshot. It is only 0.75% weapon potency. I'm not sure if there's going to be a 3 version of it that's going to have like maybe 1.5 or 1.25. We'll have to see where this goes. And then tacked on at the very bottom, I'm not even sure this was in the actual headline broadcast, or maybe we missed it on our original note going through it, but they will be adding new categories to the Straga weapon series, meaning they're adding in the katana, the wired lance, and the assault rifle. These additions to the Straga series compatible weapons with all categories to make enhanced multi-weapon fighting style. These will be dropped from the powerful gigantic enemies, so level up and ready your gear to take them on. Funny enough, they don't mention bow in this unless I missed it somewhere, so maybe they also meant to say bow as well. They say everything is going to be included, so maybe they do intend to have every weapon, but it only mentions adding wired lance, assault rifle, and the katana, so we'll have to see once it comes out. And that's going to wrap things up for part 1 of the August updates. So that is just the first half of August. We do have another half. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be updating this article specifically with part 2, or if they're going to release a second article overall, or if there's a second article that already exists. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause the recording for half a second. I'm going to check. Well, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I went ahead and tried to see if I could find another article. I can't even find the article that I'm looking at right now. So I'm afraid to refresh this, but if for some reason this article just happens to disappear into the ether, hopefully it'll be back. But I'm going to leave a link in the video description to the article itself, as I always do, that way you guys can check it out on your own. Snap thoughts. Cool to see that we have Braver on the way. Fantastic. Awesome. We got some more story. I mean, it's side story. It's nothing super major, but it's nice to see that we've got a little bit more. However, I mean, I'm with you guys when you say we're looking for more content, but I do want to go ahead and build on that, right? Let's make this more than just add more content for ahead. In the comments, toss what kind of content are you guys looking forward to? What do you guys want to see in the game itself? Like, what sort of mission type do you want to see come back? What do you want to see that SEGA goes into try to like making, so on and so forth for NGS? I feel like that could be a much more constructive conversation to have in the comments instead of the usual bring more content forehead, Hong Kong clown nose. Anyway, thanks for watching as far as you guys have, all the way to the end of the video itself. If you have any questions, feel free to toss them in the comments below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to keep up with more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace out.